Welcome to another Paranormal Highway. Today the show's at noon because I had to get some stuff done this morning at 9 a.m. Had to get some stitches removed, which I'll show you the wound during the show. So big time. So you gotta wait. During the middle of the show, I'll take off the wound. I will show you what it looks like. Might scare most of you. Your camera's gonna break, everything's gonna break. Nah, welcome everybody. Welcome to Paranormal Highway. Yesterday, I called it world exclusive story. You guys talk, you know what I'm talking about. I put out those stories, videos where I find them in papers from the UK. Some stories you know, some stories you don't. It's a way that you can hear these stories and kind of give you a visual where if you're intrigued by the story, you yourself can go research it. I'm not at all trying to say that every story that I'm putting out is true, because there are stories. Kind of like what Ron Cosmic Neighbors would say. I was not there. I can have an opinion on it if I think it's true or not. And that's it. Stories. It's not like you're showing a picture or a video shot of something you've seen. There's a story that somebody has, and you either believe it or you don't. So the story yesterday that I choose is the guy's name is David Rudom. Now, his last name, I did not give you the full last name because he's technically still undercover. I don't know. I don't want to say. But the story that I did yesterday in that video are two people that I truly know. Dr. Wu, Robert Wood, which he is coming on as not a host today, as a guest, because we're going to ask him questions on that story. Now, David, who's a retired lieutenant colonel from the Army, is somebody who my family grew up with. He's exactly my brother's age, which is 3 years older than me, which is where I hang out more with his little brother named Nick. Nick and I were close. David was close with Robert. And there was an incident that David has said that he has seen, that he shared with Bob, that he could never share before. And he gave his blessing, his blessing to give the story. I just can't show a picture of him or anything like that, because some of the stuff that Bob's going to bring up can be considered classified. And anybody's been in the military. I've been in the military. Dr. Wu's been in the military. David, retired colonel, my father is involved in this story, all military, will know that if you, this is real life. This is no other channel making up lies on whistleblowers and stuff like that. You tell classified information, you can lose all your benefits. Easily. You can lose your benefits. So I'm going to try to get the most out of Dr. Wu on this story and trying to find out more about it, basically. And to give you guys an idea if this is something that, do you feel what he's seen? So only thing I'm going to tell you is, I'll tell you what, I got an intro. It's going to be a kick-ass story. And I'm going to tell you guys some of the things that I am just sick and tired of some ufologists out there. Just sick and tired. And it's time for me, as your representative, you voted for to represent the UFO community, to finally come out and tell you some of these people that are wrong. You shouldn't be watching them. I mean, you can watch who you want, but they're frauds, they're fakes. Again, it's up to you what you think. So after the intro, get some coffee, get some soda, beer, whatever you got to do. Go find yourself a mirror, say Bloody Mary 3 times, because the show starting on the Paranormal Highway is starting now.
Was it a close encounter of the alien kind in the Taos Mountains? Two New Mexico hunters are still trying to make sense of what they saw. Here's News 13's Francesca Washington.
A rare sighting in the Taos Mountains.
We called it the mothership.
Turned an opening day hunt for elk.
I was hoping to take you away, but I wasn't that lucky.
Into something out of this world.
We're on the hunt for aliens.
Bow hunters Josh Brinkley and Daniel Lucero say they were hunting on Pot Mountain when they encountered what they believe were extraterrestrial beings.
They definitely look more like spacemen than like ET looking aliens.
Brinkley says the first day of the hunt, he spotted what he thought were two hunters.
We have little shapes on the right and left side of them, oversized heads, kind of black torsos.
The next day, both men came across what looked like a movie set.
I thought it was like a base camp, maybe? Catering?
As they drove closer to the 100-foot-long structure,
And the road just dipped down a little bit for a couple seconds, gone.
There's no way a trailer or a truck pulled it away, or it doesn't just disappear like that.
their movie set theory quickly changed.
What better place to land an alien spacecraft than out here, right?
The men say the experience has opened their eyes and changed their beliefs about aliens.
It actually happened to a couple guys that really don't believe in much.
Francesca Washington, KRQE News 13.
Now, the hunters did report the sighting to the National UFO Reporting Center. The director tells us they do believe the report to be credible.
Basically, guys, that intro is basically just saying, there's so many stories out there that people have that sometimes they're not getting told, or certain people in the UFO community trying to control on what information stories can get out there. So there are a lot of stories, and I try to find them and I try to bring them to you. So you guys see here, we got Dr. Wu on, and we got him on today. Usually he always comes on Friday, but we got him on today because yesterday, if you haven't seen the video, I put out a story about David Rudom. It's short. It's not the full last name. I cut it out because I don't want him himself to get in trouble. Because exactly like what Michael Grimmer said in the chat, you not only do you lose your benefits, you can end up in jail for 22 years. Anybody in the military will tell you there's stuff out there you cannot say, especially depending on the position that you were in.
Yeah.
Now, our friend David, who we grew up with, he was a lieutenant colonel. And let me guys tell you a little bit about him before we get into the story, just so you know a little about him. David, growing up, has always been like one of the smartest guys you can ever kind of be around with. He's like he's that guy that will go to the parties with you, but he doesn't act like an idiot. He doesn't act like a party animal. He'll be there. He'll study people. He'll do his thing. He drinks. He's got like close friends like us, and that's all he needs. He doesn't need to have 1,000 friends. He doesn't give a shit about people. He has his group of friends, and he's a person that his family and the Rodriguez family are the only two outside families we actually allow to go hunting with us.
Yeah, well, the Cantus.
Yeah. But the Cantus went less.
Yeah.
Versus, Dave and Miguel, they were always there.
Oh, yeah.
The Rodriguez family always made us
Tortillas.
big fat tortillas, which they had to go. It was, you know what I mean? So
yeah, Dad took them for the tortillas.
And kind of guy that people, you got to understand, this David guy, he is smarter than you think, because he knew that the government uses people, everybody uses people.
Yeah.
So he actually used the government to get educated. What I mean is,
yeah,
he knows, like us, we're all poor. We couldn't have a regular college. We don't have parents that have money. So he joined the military to use them for the college, got his degree, went in as an enlisted man.
Yeah.
As E1, E2, got himself his own degree, and got himself to become an officer, do an officer program.
Yeah.
He didn't go to college first, didn't go. He actually did it on college, used the military and the government to fund him.
Yeah.
He was
That's what
smart.
I did too.
Yeah.
I used the government too to pay for all my school, or some of the school. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they paid for my college too.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah.
So he was always an intelligent, and he was always a smart kind of person. Like I said, he has his tight friends. He doesn't go out and tell stories. He's not the kind of guy that will meet up with Jeremy Corbell. He won't be nobody's whistleblower. But you know, what I'm going to do first, Bob, is
Yeah.
before we'll get into the story, I thought the best thing to do is I'm going to play that 5-minute video for the people who haven't heard it, so they kind of understand what the hell are these two fucking guys talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what are they talking about? So this was a story video that I put out that was told to me by you.
Yeah.
And we'll hear the story, and then guys, when you guys hear the story in the chat, you can start like getting ready for some questions. We got Bob here. And let me just bring it up, and let me just play you guys this story.
2016, retired Army Lieutenant.
Here we go. So guys, this is basically just a 5-minute short version of the story to kind of give you the background about this alien abduction, and then we're gonna get right into it. And then after we talk about that, right before the show's over, it's time to blow up some of these UFO channels. It's time. I ain't holding back no more. But here we go. Let's get this started.
In 2016, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel David Rudom accompanied his childhood best friend, retired Navy Petty Officer Second Class Robert Wood, also known as Dr. Wu in the UFO community, on a trip to Victoria, Canada. While there, they decided to hike the famous Juan de Fuca Marine Trail, which spans from Little Quitche Creek Campground to Parkinson Creek Trailhead. During their hike, David shared with Robert about a sighting he had back in 1987 during a hunting trip in California's A-Zone, a large area that includes the coastal mountain ranges and western Sacramento-San Joaquin valleys. Robert noticed that David seemed troubled and encouraged him to share his story.
I'm just going to pause this for a second, just to let people know that most of our camping trips is at a place in Poison Meadows. That's where most of our camping trips, regular mountains, easy to camp, easy setups. A-Zone is more
hot
desert. It's not a place where you want to spend 2-3 weeks. So it's
you gotta be tough.
Year, there's a certain amount of days we'll spend the A-Zone, but it's just like the week we go up, that's it. Because it's like in the
miserable.
Video, it is a little harsher. I mean, when you look at the ground, Bob, it looks like everything's dried up. There's no water. I mean, it's like
it's on the fault line. So we got there's a lot. The water's contaminated. All that horrible stuff in the water glowing at night. You got to bring in your own water, which is, we call it beer. It's miserable there. Fuck.
It is. So I just wanted to pause real quick and let people know A-Zone is a place that we only go up maybe a week or less. Then all the rest is in Poison Meadows.
Yeah.
David revealed that the story involved him and his father, who is a retired Air Force Staff Sergeant, so he began from the beginning. During the hunting season in September of 1987, the Wood family decided to spend a week in the A-Zone area, which is known for its harsh and unfriendly landscape. Despite being a full season, they only spent a week there due to the challenging conditions. The hunting trip consisted of 7 campers.
And usually when we go camping, people, could be up to 15, 16 Poison Meadows. So since this place is a little rougher, this is like the less people we get. 7 people, sometimes 4 people, because it's not a popular place to go.
Well, that and asbestos. I remember we used to sleep in an asbestos mine. It looked like snow. And Dad was like, and we later on we find out asbestos causes cancer. But I'm like, I don't know about that because we slept in fucking asbestos dust.
People in the chat, this is a true story. We're up in the A-Zone area, and there was like a gated thing, and there was actually some water. We didn't know anything about it. We all saw this water. We all jumped in. Then the father found that sign that says, "Get out," because I forgot what was in it. It was
Oh, God. Well, again, it's a fault line. There's all the wonderful gases that come from a fault. is in the water. So there's a lot of poisonous gas and poisons in there.
Derek, when you go hunting, you hunt in zones. You get your hunting license depending on what zone you're in. A zone is just another part of a hunting area that's near above like Sacramento, San Juan King Valley.
Coastal mountains.
So A zone is that area.
Yeah.
So
on the fault line.
Yeah. You have to get certain license, certain areas. You just can't go anywhere in California to go hunting. You gotta buy specialty license for certain areas. But here we go.
And on the 5th night, they had yet to have any success. David, who was 16 at the time, suggested camping a mile away from their current spot to see if they would have better luck in the morning. Robert offered to join him, and Lawrence Wood, who felt responsible for David's safety, decided to accompany them. Uncle John stayed behind to watch over the rest of the camp. David, Robert and Lawrence assembled one tent together to facilitate the process of packing up in the morning. As the night grew late, they sought refuge inside the tent to get some rest. Around...
Didn't they do weapon testing there? Oh, there's a lot of testing. There's a lot of testing right there.
A lot of testing there.
There's a lot of testing. And so far in the story, guys, we were there for a 7-day trip. It's one of our longer trips. And at that time, the 5th day, it was miserable. I mean, there was the hunting, there was nothing. Nobody got nothing. And David's that guy. He's that kind of guy that has to want one. I mean, he wants to hunt to the point where he's going to go away from the camp spot.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, my father's responsible for him. You know, he's not blood. So my father felt that, I can't have my son and his friend get lost out there. So I'm going to go with them because, I mean, you can't. He felt responsible, and we had Uncle Johnny to watch myself, cousin Daryl, all of us at the camp. So only 3 of them went because David did not want everybody to go with him. He wanted less than possible because he wants
just kill the deer.
He wants the prize. He wants the prize. I mean, he's a dedicated hunter, and we were there 5 days. I mean, seen nothing. I mean, no does, no nothing.
Lots of boars. We saw boars.
Desperate, I guess you could say. But we'll continue with the story.
2 a.m., rain began to pour, and due to a small hole in the tent's roof, a few rain...
Real quick, people, this is rare. It never rains out there.
No.
For some reason, this night, not pouring down, it actually did rain. It's a miracle of all miracles.
Drops landed on David's forehead. This sudden sensation caused him to awaken, only to realize that he was unable to move or utter a sound. Through the tent, he observed vibrant colors flashing and heard the distinct sound of an aircraft or helicopter landing nearby. Footsteps followed, resembling the presence of 3 or 4 individuals outside. Initially, David's mind jumped to the assumption that these individuals were fellow campers from the home base playing a prank on them. Despite his immobility, a few more raindrops striking his eye managed to break the spell, freeing him from his paralyzed state. He attempted to rouse Robert and Lawrence, but they remained frozen and unresponsive. Consequently, David equipped himself with protective gear and weaponry to ensure their safety. Once fully prepared, he declared loudly, "I'm exiting the tent armed and ready," and after emerging from the tent, a dazzling array of vibrant lights illuminated his face, revealing the presence of 4 to 5 towering grey aliens standing at a height of approximately 7 to 8 feet. As they approached him, he swiftly fled on foot. While running, a deafening vacuum-like noise reached his ears, prompting him to glance back and witness his friend and his father being pulled into the UFO. The grey aliens reappeared, steadily advancing towards him, compelling him to run once more. However, this time he made the decision to confront them, brandishing his weapon and turning around to fire 3 shots. The echoes of his gunfire were accompanied by a peculiar Bigfoot-like yell, reminiscent of a sound he had encountered in 1984. Observing the Greys retreat to their ship, he summoned his courage and resolved to pursue them in an attempt to rescue his friends. Drawing nearer to the aliens, they suddenly ascended in a beam of light, returning to their vessel. A tremendous explosion emanated from the ship, rendering him unconscious for approximately 3 hours. As I heard a loud noise and felt the ground shake, I immediately realized that the UFO had returned. Suddenly, a beam of light hit the ground and Robert and Lawrence fell to the ground. After the UFO flew away, I rushed to their side and shook them until they regained consciousness. Lawrence suggested that he may have had too much to drink the night before due to his headache, while Robert complained of body pain as if he had been probed. When Dave asked if they remembered any lights or creatures outside the tent, Robert dismissed it as a nightmare. David decided it was not the appropriate time to share our experience with them. Upon returning to the camp, Robert's...
Real quick, I'm going to continue it. Who is Robert? Robert is Dr. Wu, and Lawrence is our father. So Kat, this is actually Dr. Wu. This is him.
Yeah.
And Lawrence is my dad.
Our dad.
Our
Yeah.
dad. So we'll continue.
Yeah.
Cousin Daryl asked if they had seen the light last night, but nobody believed him.
Of course, Daryl's our
If
cousin.
they only knew. Upon returning to the Juan de Fuca Marine Trail, I recounted the story to Robert. Surprisingly, he pointed out that I had no physical recollection of that particular day except for myself and my father. We both found it peculiar that we had shared the same dream about being abducted. Consequently, I am now contemplating whether my dreams were attempting to convey the truth to me. Furthermore, David mentioned that this incident played a significant role in my decision to join the military. This way, I could further my research on alien abductions. Unfortunately, due to the classified nature of my military experience, I am unable to disclose any information to others. However, I can confidently affirm that the events of that day did occur, and no one can convince me otherwise.
All right. Now, before we get started, let me just tell you guys one thing before we start asking Dr. Wu questions. I was at the camp spot with my Uncle Johnny, Daryl, Gary, Beer Grease, the rest of the campers, and none of us seen anything except Daryl said he saw lights, which at the time, like, okay, you saw lights. You took a leak and you said you saw lights. It's one of those things that, listen, people, I was younger, of course, than they were. They were 16 and 17. And let's just say that these 16, 17-year-olds were drinking more caffeine type of soda, okay?
Yeah.
You get my drift. So everybody look at Daryl like, okay, you drank too much caffeine. Okay, so we didn't think nothing of Daryl, but now hearing this story from Bob, what him and David talked about, Daryl did see a light.
Yeah.
So Daryl wasn't crazy in the first place about seeing a light. Well, let's say this. So in 2016, he just got out of the military. He retired, and you guys, he likes to go on trails, like rent little scooters, and just go out there. So you guys went to Victoria Island. Anybody doesn't know where that is? Victoria is part of Vancouver,
Canada.
It's its own island. It's in Canada.
Yeah.
It's above Washington.
Yeah.
So you both went to the trail
Hiking.
and he said you could tell
Juan de Fuca
according
Trail.
to you could tell that he wanted to tell you something that he knows that's hard for you to believe.
Yeah.
Everybody believe about what he saw. Now, I'm not saying what he saw is real or not. If I heard you right when I put the story together,
Yeah.
you said to me, and you said you talked to Father. He's passed away. I can't ask him now.
Yeah.
That you guys have no physical memory of this thing up in the mountains, but you saw things in your dreams. And what was weird,
Yeah.
I remember you talking to Dad about this, is what was weird is you guys had the same dream.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I always joke about, like when Ron was on there, I talk about abductions are generational. They take father, son, daughter, mother. It's the generational thing. And that's why I know it, because I remember I was telling Dad, I remember when I was a kid, dude, I think I have, you and I went through a windshield, so our brains aren't exactly correct. So, when aliens try to do an abduction, they do a thing where they put their faces, they put their face above your face and they're in your head. They have this telepathy. They could go inside of your head and they could actually knock you out like anesthetic. And they could even give you pleasant, stupid fucking dreams and all kinds of weird stuff. So I woke up once and my eyes opened up and when I looked, there's a damn face in front of my face. And I screamed. I remember that. And then I wake up and I told Dad about it and Dad's like, yeah. Me too.
Ron says, okay, now that explains a lot, the windshield thing. Ron, that's something not new. I actually told everybody my grandpa used to call me a miracle baby because as a baby I flew out of a car.
Yeah.
And lived. Hit a rock and lived.
Yep.
That happened as a baby.
Yep.
Of course, Bob went off the cliffs.
Yep.
There's a lot of things.
A lot of accidents.
So when you woke up, like you were sore. Now, of course, when you're telling us back at camp you're sore, we always think you're just hangover. You're hanging out. You guys are drinking out there. Give us a break. But you're saying that it was a different kind of a pain.
Yeah, it's a full body pain. It's a full body pain like you got electrocuted. Like you've just been electrocuted. It's hard feeling. It's like you were on an elevator that went down really fast, where your body feels like it's elevated to go up, but it's a nausea feeling, kind of like you're on a fast elevator going down, and with a full body pain. If that makes sense to anybody.
Was there any thoughts at that moment in time that something happened to you guys? Maybe, but
Well, Dave told me.
I understand if there wasn't.
Well, Dave told me the story about me and Dad getting dropped on the ground and a beam of light from a freaking craft. So I debunk, and so I'm like, dude, you had a dream, you were drinking, you're full of it. But I have dreams, and I have that dream of waking up and looking at this thing in my face. So there's a lot of realization that kind of goes along with it, and plus I got strange, weird scars on my body and weird spots that I've never had. It's weird. And I go, okay, so when I go through the data to debunk first and then eliminate, and I look at all these other reports of people that have been abducted, I'm like, man, you talk about exactly the same. I'm like, it's just, wow, it's becoming a plausible thing that it actually happens. And again, they only take people for DNA. Here's the thing: how I debunk and I hate people when they say that I was abducted and the aliens were telling me about preserving the Earth. I'm like, what are you talking about? They never talk about it. They don't give a shit about the Earth. They don't care about the environment. They just want your damn DNA. You're just a fish they pulled out of the water. A generational thing. It's all the way down the line. Because people got to remember, before the populations were small back in the day. It was not big populations, they were small. So your ancestors came from a small population, and then it grew and 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 it grew. So I imagine they were picking up people from the original population, getting their DNA down, having it mapped, and then following that generation down the line and see how they're doing now. And each generation, every time you're born, reborn, you got more and more immunities. You get more immunities for viruses, disease, all that good stuff. So they just kind of keep tabs on you, kind of like how they put they put little clips on a shark, and then they follow the shark all over the ocean, and they have them on a radar, and they just follow the shark. Well, they tag animals and let them go in the wild, and they can always refine them. They can always find the animal because they got a tag on them. So, yeah, that's kind of how the real is. That's the real. There's nothing about I've never had a message that says save the planet. I'm like, what are you talking about? There was nothing pleasant about being abducted.
What interesting is, I've been putting out like video stories that I get from newspapers or storylines, you know. And like I said, I just put them out there, how they're written, about the pros and cons, if they're real or not, and you know, I don't tell people these stories are true or not because they're not pictures, they're not videos. It's up to you. But one of the things you're saying that, like, a few of these videos, like this last one, Meg Ziago claims he slept with an alien, right?
Yeah,
here's another video down here that Mark H says he has sex with an alien.
Wow.
And then Philip Boza said he had an encounter with sex and alien. And the reason I'm bringing this up is the last story I put out. The guy said in his story that they were he wanted to know where was the woman alien that he had sex with, and they told him that she's not going to be back. She's going to be having his hybrid child on another planet. And what you're saying is, what's interesting, you're saying is, would they really have that conversation with you? Would they really give a shit? Like, Bob,
nope.
You are going to be having a kid, and we're going to put you back on Earth so you can tell the world that there's going to be a hybrid baby. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a fantasy story. I mean, these are real stories that these people have told.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you think, like, really?
Yeah.
They're going to tell you exactly what they're doing?
Yeah, I'd sure love to have sex with an alien female. That'd be great. I want that. I want that abduction.
Well, in the Mark H story, he said the main reason was that you know, they want to create these hybrids because of the climate change and all that, so they can survive and we die from it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm not saying that that's not being true, but why would they tell you their plan? You're Earth.
Right. Yeah, they're not gonna tell you anything. Like, they don't give a shit. They just want your DNA. It's like I joke about it, like a bee that goes from flower to flower to get the pollen, and that's it. Then they go back and they put you together somewhere. Your genetics.
They absorb enzymes to your skin.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what. There's no toilets on a freaking spaceship, so.
They explained to Little Bob the alien on the other channel. Rob, I heard they a lot contiguous interpoles, not good. They just was it your semen laugh out loud? They want your,
they want your nut. They want your nut. They'll milk you for your nut.
Now, of course, I don't believe they're telling us humans their plans, but you think in your own way that they are experimenting with humans' DNAs to see if they can survive on this planet? Because maybe, I mean, I'm not saying this, but maybe they have to have like space suits to survive here, and they want to be able to survive without wearing suits. You think maybe that's part of the
well, they got to wear suits. They got to wear suits. They got to be sterilized because they can't. The viruses will kill them. It's just like the movie. Was it War of the Worlds? That ain't a lie. That's real. We're biologically adapted to our environments. We have mites in our eyebrows. We've got worms in our stomach that are not from. You weren't born with them. You got them from your environment. We've got things in our body, parasites that we need to live. We are in sync with biologically with the environment we come from. We've taken all these wonderful things into our body from the environment, and those that can survive. And then they don't have that. So I mean, I look at them as dolls. They're little organic, synthetic doll people. That's how I look at them. That's how I think about it. That's why I don't believe people when they talk about being star seeds and all that weird stuff. Doll people, man. That's what they are. And they can die real easy. You know. They're a hive mind little doll people. And they just want your DNA.
Now,
yeah.
Michael wrote in the comment, now, of course, this is all opinions of people. So, are they only taking male only? I would think
no, females too.
Both. Yeah.
So if you look at the data, okay, let's go hardline data. If you look at the data for abductions, and believe me, I went through all that shit. Eric, you remember I went to school for We had parapsychology class with Dr. Bauer.
You're an archaeologist.
Yeah, they went to, okay, so I had all these fucking things, and wait, what was the question? Wait, what was the question?
Do you think it's male?
Oh, no.
It's male only.
No, they take females too, but you gotta understand, the majority of people they abduct, I'm just saying it, okay, according to the graft, are Rh negative bloods, okay? Females can be Rh negative, and females are in fact abducted also, and males. The majority of the people that are abducted statistically are Rh negative. And again, it's generational. They've been picking your grandparents up and your grandparents. They've been picking you all the way through the line, keeping tabs on people. Now, these guys are interdimensional, man, which means they don't have mass. That means they kind of pop in and pop out. You know, they kind of come in from somewhere. Time travel, interdimensional travel, they know their targets. They come for you specifically. You might have the same abductors each time. The same ones will pick you up all the time. The same ones are assigned to you when you're born, and then they follow you around all the way up till you get older, and they pick you out of the water like a fish, and they scrape your DNA, and then that's about basically it.
You know,
all the way through. That means my son will probably be abducted, and my daughter.
now what's funny about that what you said is,
Yeah.
I really honestly feel there's some truth to it when you said the same people, because people always think I'm crazy, and this is why
Yeah.
guys, again, in the chat, I am not here to tell you that the Mary Island incident, the Roswell incident are real. I'm not saying, but all I'm saying is something did happen at these both. And every time I come up and say that what happened in Mary Island is the same ship clan that happened over there, and there's always people like, no, it's not. And I'm saying like how many different alien races you think from different planets are coming to the Earth at the same time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like. So, but what I'm talking about, Bobby, is like I can see one planet want to investigate us, and they want to see if their machines can fly here. They want to experiment. And every time I tell people I think it's the same group, they think I'm crazy. I'm like, do you really think there's 2-3 planets that are all coming?
No,
at the same time?
same group.
No. I mean, and everybody thinks they know exactly what those ships look like, and they're
always changing. No, that's always changing. I always laugh because my favorite spacecraft UFO is the flat disc one with the single antenna on top. These things can morph. These things can shape any shape it wants. It could be an airplane. It could be a triangle. It could be a round ball. It could be any shape. The ships themselves can change shapes to anything. I mean, UFOs are flying over your head right now, and they're shaped as an airplane. Now, I know airplanes because I worked at an aerospace museum, and I know all about airplanes. When I watch certain airplanes do certain things, I'm going to say, you know what? Number one, airplanes cannot fly over residential areas. It's against the freaking rules. They can only fly over freeways, waterways, and certain things like that, just in case they go down.
Yeah.
I'm watching airplanes, dude, fly over right on top of the house. Like, no, you're not. You're not an airplane. And then I look at the markings on it, and I'm like, nah, you're not an airplane. You're shaped like one. See them all the time.
They're camouflaging.
Yeah.
Like one of ours.
Yeah, 100%. I know airplanes, and I know certain shapes, and I even seen, and I had a witness at my house back in Washington. Person came from England, you remember, hung out with me at the house, and I was pointing it out, and this person says, that airplane has one wing. I said, I know. Sometimes they forget the other wing. It can't fly.
Derek Gallery wrote, certain metals were found at Roswell that was also at the Aztec temples and pyramids. And Derek, there was some metal found at the Mary Island incident here in Washington, which Bob found a piece of it. So, you know, it does not shock me to hear they find the same metal at the Aztec pyramids, because I believe they're all the same clan, the same
It's
clan.
the same. Yeah, they're the same. And the thing about the material of these craft is, number one, it has no history here. The material for the craft, these things aren't from here. So the material isn't from here. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm trying to say when I say that. Basically, you have a pencil. The pencil it came from a tree. A tree came from here. It came from the ground. It came from a seed. Came from the soil. Came from the nutrients. Everything of a history. This lighter, 100% came from here. Everything here. But those crafts are not from here. So, each piece itself of a craft can, in fact, be kind of like a time travel, or it can interdimensional. It's something that's not supposed to be here. It has no history here. It's a material that wasn't created here. And so each material, because it's not from here, is in fact, you can dimensional shift with it or jump with it. And that's what the government wants. But the problem is, they don't know how to mess with it.
Here's a comment that says, you're saying only what you believe is the truth. That's BS.
Yeah. Yeah, everything's a lie here. When in Rome, right?
I mean, there's a reason why everybody's searching for the truth, because we don't know exactly what the answer is. I mean,
the cool thing is I got the answers, but nobody listens to me anyway. Nobody listens to fucking Turtle.
I mean, like I always said, unless you have a real UFO matter space land in your backyard, chained up, or an alien, nobody's ever going to believe everything. And
why would they?
These are theories, but what Bob's talking about is Bob's archaeology. So Bob's using the science that he's learned in archaeology to help him trying to solve the answers. And we have said this in the past shows that science is only as good as it is at the moment, because science could change in an hour.
Science is theoretical.
5 years, theories change, because more advanced that we get, more information that we get, and that changes things.
Yeah, it's theoretical. All science is theoretical. It's all based off observation, and repeated. Like you have to redo the experiment over and over again, and then have your peers redo the experiment over and over again until everyone can at least agree that the observation might just be a little bit plausible. That's how all science is.
Danny Stanton wrote, "Okay, that's ridiculous. Airplanes fly in airspace. It doesn't matter what's on the ground unless it's military. How you land at a LAX and a JFK without going over residential area." Oh my God.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you must have worked at an aerospace museum. I guess you know all about airplanes. No, they can't fly over residential. Not in my reality. They're not allowed to fly over residential. They could fly over freeways, waterways, and anywhere. In fact, Eric, you remember where we lived in Washington? You remember how the airport bought all those apartments? Bought all that land?
Yeah.
You remember? Why would they buy all that land? It's because you can't be living there. And so the planes decided they're going to route them over this area. So they had to buy all these apartments, and everyone had to move out. Houses, land.
This is what's sad about these apartments. What Bob's talking about.
Yeah.
They just built
them.
And people just moved in. Not within 3 months.
Yeah.
They shut down the apartment. So think about it. You paid this down payment. You put a year contract in. 3 months later, somehow the city says, "Nope, we need this."
We need this because the planes are going to fly over it. Yeah, and you can't fly over residential. So they had to buy all these apartments, and these people had to leave. You remember everybody was like all big buzz all over Washington because the airport's buying a section where they're going to reroute planes, so you can't fly over residential. So they had to buy all this, everyone's house that was over it. They had to give them like a price, they had to pay for it, so people got their properties purchased.
We have a serious question here. Question. Question mark. What alien race do you think is working with governments of the world or global elites?
Oh,
I mean, first
probably the Sagittarians.
Aliens do speak to the government. Do you believe, Bob, that there's a communication between the aliens and the governments?
Well, they think there is. They try to have communication with them. Again, Sagittarians, if you have a memory like mine, you're from a different damn I'm an alien inside. I'm in a different avatar here. So I'm an alien. So I imagine there's other people like myself that works for the government, just like me, who are going, hey, man, now didn't the Monopoly guy have a monocle? Doesn't McDonald's used to be McDonald's with an MAC, like the Big Mac? I don't understand. Everything's changed. But, of course, there's people like myself, technically, from Sagittarius memory, talking to the government. There's people in the government that have the same memories that I do. So technically, they're aliens. And they're giving advice. Probably bad advice. Shit, I give out a lot of bad advice.
Saying his uncle worked air traffic controller. So I know a little about subject. That's awesome. And then Kat wrote, so you shouldn't be speaking in absolutes.
Okay.
And then Dr. Wu is an awesome guest, smart guy, even after getting probed. Danny, I bet you had a slot of good stories. Amazon Prime flies over my house all the freaking time.
Not supposed to. Well, maybe they changed the laws. Maybe in this reality, there's a new law.
What does she mean by Amazon Prime? Like their own airplanes?
Like drones? Oh, maybe they have their own planes. Everybody seems to have a plane here now. There's hundreds of planes.
Hold on. Maybe people are getting like a little bit like offside. Listen, when an airport is in a city, in towns, yeah, they have certain sections where they fly in, and they're residential, so they have a pathway. But guys, I think what Bob's getting at is every airport, they have a pathway to fly from A to B, and they're not allowed to go off flight.
No,
in case there's an emergency. So all airports are around town. So yes, the plane has to go over houses, but the majority of the flight, they find the less obstacles in a flight pattern. Yeah,
it's called pushing 10.
Yeah,
you guys ever heard of called pushing 10?
Like even though our SeaTac airports here, no matter what, planes are going over, but they all have to go in a certain path
over the Puget Sound.
Over the Puget Sound. That's why, like where I'm sitting right here, when I look this way, all the airplanes come in this way. They fly in this way, and then when they leave, they fly in the opposite direction, and then they turn around a flight pattern
over the freeway.
Yes, they do fly over certain residential, but it's all designated for.
They can fly over parks. They can fly over parks, waters, all that stuff.
I think people are just getting a little bit confused. I think they're talking about they can't fly over no buildings, no nothing. On a flight path, they have to. Yeah. But there's a flight path that they do.
Now, having established all of that, the idea was, guys, that when I see an airplane flying illegally over residentials, blatantly over buildings, I always say to myself, either A, we've got ourselves a runaway terrorist in an airplane, or B, that ain't right. That means that there's something peculiar about that airplane, because it's not normal flight path. And now, when I worked at the Museum of Flight, we had a section up there was called the Tower, and we have live feed from everybody in the tower talking to the airplanes. You know, you could hear the pilots. It's kind of cool with the museum. You could hear live feed with the guys in the tower pushing 10. We call it pushing 10. It's when you guide all the planes around. You can hear it live. Now, I've sit there outside and looked up, and I watched an airplane do the weirdest, craziest things, and I don't hear any communications from the tower talking to it. And I'm like, and I even had friends at work like, isn't that weird? That plane is going over a legal area, and the tower's not talking to it. How is that? Now, this is observational science, guys. This is me, my ears, my eyes. And I go, that ain't right. So when I see these airplanes doing these weird-ass things where they're flying over, like, no, that ain't right. There's something about that plane that's not right. And I know now that these objects, these unidentified flying objects, can change shapes. They look like airplanes. If they can look like a ball, and if they can look like a flying disc, or any other wacky-do shapes, it's. And And also, guys, I was in the Snoopy team. The Navy Snoopy team, if you guys don't know what a Snoopy is, Ron's in the sidebar. I'm sure he'll throw a link in for you guys to explain what a Snoopy is. I'm not going to go into detail. Yeah. But its job to look at unidentified objects and have some sort of opinion on them in the Navy.
I live in a flight path of both Midway and O'Hara airports. I live in house. Yeah, I live by the airport, so I got planes flying over every day.
Yeah.
And then,
it's unusual,
in the 80s, I racked about 2 million air miles. I've been over plenty of big cities, residential neighborhoods, and cow pasture. I live beside a forest plane over me all the time.
Yeah.
My kids just made a home. Awesome. Derek, the summer sucks when you're working. If you can't, okay, here we go. The Navy Snoopy team is a reaction team that records and photographs unknown contacts that approach a ship. The team's goal is to gather intelligence and document contacts.
Yeah, so I have that under my belt already. So when I'm already trained by the government to see things that are not normal. Obviously, some things are amiss here when I see certain things.
Danny wrote, I saw one video where the plane stops in the air for about 30 seconds and just swing there froze.
I saw that too. I saw it too. I saw it with my own eyes. I looked up and saw a plane stop in midair, and I had to stop and laugh, light a cigarette up, and just say, look at that. It's in midair. It stopped. How's a plane stopping midair? Anyway, my memory was the engines were under the wing. Now they're in front of the wing, and so it's completely changed. And I don't even know how to get feel in them. They talk about all the feels in the wings. I go, what are you talking about? There's no feel in them wings. I've worked on the airplanes, man. There's a fuel line. There's no fuel stored in wings.
Look at this. Remember when Jeremy Doorbell muted the Snoopy videos and called them alien ships, but Snoopy team called them drones?
Yeah. Well, because you have a book, they give you a book, you get a symbol. They call Snoopy Team away. They put on the 1MC. You got to stop what you're doing, throw down your mop, whatever it is. You got to run up there. They give you a fucking book. You open the book up, and you have silhouettes, black silhouettes. And a cat number, a number at the bottom. Well, a number and some letters. And there's silhouette pictures. There's no picture. It's a silhouette. So when you look at it and you look at the object, the unidentified object, you look at it, you go, okay, it's got to be this one. So you have a paper, you have a sheet, you write it in. You write it in the number of what the object you think it is from the silhouettes you're looking at in the book that you're given. Everyone's separate when they do it too. So nobody's coaching each other in what they think it is. Then they take all that information and they look at, okay, so the majority of the Snoopies agree that it's this, whatever this is in this book. And that's how we identified objects, unidentified flying objects or water objects. A lot of objects on the water too, unidentified.
I want to bring this up. Earlier in the chat, Derek wrote, I know aliens are afraid of radar. And let me guys tell you something. When we talked about how one of the inspirations for David, the retired lieutenant colonel who joined the military, was he wanted to further his research. And it's funny that this is not classified.
No.
But his main job was to make sure that the radars across the United States and more are repaired and they're working.
Yeah.
And what I've heard, this is not classified, but I'll just say they're pointed
up
in a certain kind of direction. Can you expand on that about this radar, about his job?
Yeah. So our bud there, he worked on he was like a supply guy. Like any if you guys go to a hardware store, you go to a mechanic shop, you get parts and pieces. His job is to make sure them parts and pieces get to the radars, all around the globe. Any American area that owns whatever and they have a radar, he's got to make sure the working parts and pieces, the gaskets and all those things, and everything's functioning fully. And around 2015 and 14, actually after 2012, homeboy was all over the damn globe, making sure the radars are working and pointed up. And I'm like, why? Why is the government so concerned with the radars and making sure they're all functioning properly and they're all pointing up? What's going on?
And people in the chat, what he means is they're pointing at a certain destination.
Yeah.
We all know satellites point up in the air.
Yeah.
They were all pointed in the exact
same direction. Yeah.
They weren't pointed in different areas for some
Yeah.
reason. They're all pointed.
This
And
is
I know
not.
There's some things that he knows he can't tell us.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting that his research of trying to find the truth about his own story got him into the position of radars.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then hearing all that information about that, and then he told me about being me and Dad getting abducted, and he saw that, and I'm like, oh, now it matches my dreams, and now I know I'm not crazy. You know, like, okay, man, you know. And now I have lucid dreams. I can dream and be awake in the dream now, which is really interesting. I could have never done that until after 2016. So that's really interesting. I'm sure people that are being abducted probably have the same things that I can do. Like, for example, I like to use Ron as an example. When you look at the stats for people that are abducted, they follow the same criteria. Number one, they love space. Number two, they're RH negative. Number three, they're super skeptics. You know, keep going down the list. He fills in the entire list. So just the same as other people that have been abducted. A majority of people that have abduction stories or whatever, the ones that see the UFOs. It's strange. Nobody else can. I've looked at an unidentified object in the sky, standing next to a crowd of people. I point at it, and nobody looks up. Like, you don't see this? Nobody looks up. They just look, and they look back down like they don't see it. I'm like, wow. So some people that have been abducted somehow could see it, and other people can't. And it's kind of like how that Bigfoot thing rolls. Some people can see Bigfoot their whole life. They see him hundreds of times. Other people can go out with him and not see a damn thing. It's the same thing with the UFOs. Something about it. Something about abductees that can see the craft and other people can't. Maybe they got something.
And of course I can see that, but
yeah.
But you know, because I always have a complaint that like Bigfoot. Yeah, we had our actual sighting in 1984.
We saw one.
We saw it, but since then, I'm not saying we heard weird noises we can't explain, but we never saw that image. And there's people who come out. It seems like every time they go out in the field, they got something. It's like
something.
And I remember on another channel, Sasquatch America, the guy I met his wife, at the Bigfoot conference in Yakima. He said in chat, you know, I saw Bigfoot once 25 years ago, and I've been on the hunt for 25 years, and I haven't seen that again. So, do you believe that some people are maybe not UFOs yet, like Bigfoot whisperers, like horse whisperers, like?
Well, you know, here. Okay, I'm going to roll some stats again. Statistically, if you ask somebody that sees a Bigfoot a lot, and I believe them, like, okay, I believe you believe it. Also, if you ask them, do you see dead people? Do you see ghosts? Do you have any paranormal thing happen in your life? They're like, yeah. So you also can see ghosts. Okay, so you see a Bigfoot, and you can see spirits. 9 times out of 10, they're the ones that are they're experiencing hauntings. Always. Same people that see the Bigfoots are the same people that get abducted, are the same people that see ghosts and all kinds of weird stuff. Because once you're taken into once they take you and remove you interdimensionally, because that's where they take you to, they take you in an in-between place. When you're brought back, your mind's not the same. You're rewired. You're 100% rewired. Now you can see the craziest things. I see this big monster white cat walk around the backyard. Nobody else could see him. And I'm like, I ain't crazy, man. Big monster white cat.
I'm trying to understand this for a second. Jojo wrote, Paranormal Highway, do you still have Andy Decode's email, Addy? Andy, who are we talking about to decode emails? Are you talking about Andy, who is with Anthony? That Andy? Or are we thinking of somebody else? Who are we talking about decoding emails? I
have no idea.
Yeah. Who I mean, that's the only other Andy that I know. I don't know if I know another Andy. Let me see here. Yeah, please just put another thing. Like go further a little more. Like, are we talking about that Andy? Or are we talking about somebody who decodes emails?
So if you guys have any questions, I'll give it my best shot to answer it. I'm going to give you guys an honest answer too.
Oh, here we go. No, Andy decodes is his. Oh, Andy decodes is his channel. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Andy decodes is his channel. You were on the show. He wants to know if you and Dr. Wu will come on. Oh. Well, yeah. He could just email me. Yeah, we'll go on this show.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Can I drink? Can I smoke a J? Can I smoke a J on the show?
Yeah, I was misunderstanding. Like I thought for a second they're asking me if I had a person decode emails.
Oh.
Actually, I mean, I do have friends that I say, "Hey, look at this email. Look at this email.
Yeah.
This email." You know,
I get some pretty strange ones too. I get some people throwing me some codes and some emails.
Email up, Andy, and yes, and guys, my Paranormal Highway. Here, I'll just type in my email here, but it's in the description. Paranormal Highway, and it's very easy, guys. Paranormal Highway 13 at gmail.com. Gmail.com. And hold on, Danny just put the link to Andy Decodes.
And I want to show some people, Eric, in a second, a good thing to carry with you if you're an abductee, if you get abducted a lot. I want you guys need to carry one of these with you.
Andy
You got to give me a
Decodes.
big
There it
picture.
is.
Oh, that's him.
I'll subscribe. Yeah, we'll go on. I mean, we love talking to people.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Got till yeah. Just let us know, just let us both know when he wants to do it so we can, make sure we're around that day. Like who knows where we're going.
Yeah. Yeah, I always got something going on. So Eric has to call me before the shows to make sure I'm here for the show. But Eric, I wanted to show off this book real fast, and I wanted to show people something. So give me a full screen for a second. So this is called the Worst Case Scenario Travel Handbook. You guys should all have one. And there's a particular page in here that I want you guys to look at. It's you can't probably see it.
Oh, Bob, I got bad news for you.
What's that?
John P. Adventure wrote, I know him. He is good, Eric and Rob. Just no probing. No probing, Bob.
Oh, no probing? I enjoy the probing, though. We could put 2 full-grown raccoons up our ass now, so I don't mind. How to foil a UFO abduction, and it got the instructions right here. Number 1, do not panic. Control your thoughts, and I'm just fast reading it. And resist verbally. That always works. Resist mentally. If you're mentally ill, it's easy to get away from them. Resist physically, and then stay calm. And then right here, accurately record the time and the start of the sightings and the time and change of the direction of the UFOs, flight pattern, blah, blah, blah. Basically, also, you poke their eyes. Always poke their eyes. They got big-ass eyes. I don't know if you guys could read that. Poke their eyes. That's the best way to get away from it.
Ask Bob, Danny, is there not one channel you're not subscribed to? I've been subbed to Andy a while.
He's subbed to everybody. Oh, there's a freaky fucking cat.
What's the discussion? Are you going to do anything in the abduction story? Of what? Are you talking about of one of my small videos?
Oh, they're talking about the original. We started off with the abduction story. Yeah, so I according to a friend, was abducted, and my father was abducted. He visually saw it. He watched it happen, and yeah. And then I have dreams about it, and so now I don't know. So now, all I know is that I have not had sex with a beautiful alien woman. That's not my scenario. I don't get that one. It's bad.
What's this question? Hold on a second. How
Sucks.
can you poke the eyes if you can't move, Dr. Wu?
Well, according to this, I just read it. Now you got to. Well, I'll just tell you. I've read this 1,000 times. You want to resist them mentally because they get into your head and they give you a false sense of comfort and relaxation. And they really mess with your mind mentally, which knocks you out like an anesthetic. And then they go to town on your body, scraping, getting your DNA, jerking you off, all kinds of crazy stuff. And milking you, anal probing you, I don't know. Yeah, but a lot of probing, you know.
Yes, with laugh out loud.
Well, I mean, here, outside of the joke, in your intestines you have bacteria, a particular type of bacteria specific to your intestines that helps break down food. Helps break down. It gets the most out of the proteins and the nutrients and whatever you've ate. It works in your intestines and it gets the most out of it. So they're going in for the bacteria. So they're pulling bacteria out of your butthole. They want the bacteria. So that's why they anal probe you. They want the bacteria from your butt.
Watch the new movie, No One Will Save You. I did watch that, and that's a hell of a good movie on Hulu.
Oh, I want to see that. I haven't seen that yet. Is that good? I'm going to watch it.
Oh, it's really good. It's called No One Will Save You. It's on Hulu. So, Bob, when I was watching this, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it was a horror movie, right?
Yeah.
Because it has the sense of a horror movie. Somebody's breaking in, a woman living all by herself out in the woods. And it's more than that.
I saw that. Yeah,
when I was watching, I'm like, this is a UFO abduction movie. This is great. But it didn't play off on that. So it was actually like, I was shocked how good it was. Like, man, they really made this good.
Yeah. Well, another thing that's going on in the phenomenon is this thing about the hybrids, and they're mixing DNA. And so we have these people walking around. Now, I could see them. I could tell they're hybrids. I could tell when I see I know genetics. I see face structures. And I'm like, wow, skin looks different. Everything looks different. They are kicking out these hybrids. And these hybrids, supposedly, according to the data, have the same ability as the little gray fuckers, and they can control your mind. So, just throwing that at you guys. So these,
but Bob, we're gonna go a little deeper right here. One of the things why I think a lot of people, I don't say they get like not angry with me, or they'll say, Eric, how come you don't believe? How come you always put down Jeremy Corbell, or how come you put down I'm forgetting everybody's name.
I don't even know them.
I'm forgetting. My God, Bob, you ever hate when you have those, when your brain just freezes of all these people, let me see here, Jeremy the Corbells, who's that famous? Oh, Bob Lazar.
Oh,
and people like George Knapp and all that. And people was like, Eric, why are you angry? Because I'm going to tell people out there right now. I'm going to tell you guys the freaking truth. Everybody thinks they know somebody who's a senator, who's a senator or who's a governor or somebody, and they all know the truth. I'm going to tell you guys something right now, and I'm not saying this just to say this. You look at Bob, you look like myself, and you're like two crazy guys wearing hats.
Yeah.
We've got people who are still in the military that are family. We have retired military. We
family works for NASA.
We got more people than you think. We know more stuff, and I'm not saying that just to say that. We know more stuff than a lot of people know. Way more.
I have access to NOAA still. If you guys don't know what NOAA is, ask Ron. Ask Ron what NOAA is.
Like Eric, this guy is this. Listen, we know high people in certain positions.
Yeah.
We're on the military side, and listen. Well, that's military. That's not government. Military is everywhere. The government uses the military for everything.
It's the Roman Empire.
It's a Roman Empire. Things. So, do I believe people like David Rudom? No, because we know stuff from people that knows that the guy not for money.
Here's Ron. Hold on. Put Ron's up because I just have to ask Ron. I don't want to explain to people. He just put it in there. National Oceanic Atmosphere Administration, NOAA. Put Ron's up. That's NOAA.
Was it just a new? Oh, right here.
Yeah. So NOAA is it's a program in a computer. It's basically an inventory list for the Smithsonian Institute. And when I tell you guys, Smithsonian has everything. You guys just see the tip of the iceberg on the upside. Remember, Eric, I told you about the tunnels. There's tunnels, guys.
Yeah.
There's tunnels, and in them tunnels are huge rooms, and they're filled with just filled. Put it that way.
Well, we got good news. Danny says I trust more people who wear hats than those who out bandana are cool too.
You're right.
You know.
I just don't want head cancer. You got it. Mike had it. Pretty much our whole family gets these fucking cancer things. Huh.
Yeah. And I said in the beginning of the show, I actually did had somebody email me and said I made up the whole cancer thing on the forehead.
Oh, no, you didn't. No, you got cut. You
and-
got cut.
And this might gross a lot of you out, so a lot of you, goddamn, because they said I could take this off after a couple.
Our
hours.
older brother had cancer on his head also, and they had to take off pretty much half of his head and put his ass cheek on his head. They used the skin from his ass cheek. Man, it's gross. It was gross. Eric got lucky and got his before. Me, I wear a hat. I don't give a fuck if I'm in the bathroom. I wear a hat. Nothing's going to hit my head. There it is. Eric got stitches and everything.
Oh yeah, they removed the stitches today, so they just put the Band-Aid just because they just took the stitches out.
They even scrape your skull. They scraped your skull. Ooh.
I have one of them, Eric. It's a laboratory scar. Yeah. No, somebody actually emailed me and said, "You're just lying. You're just trying to get sympathy." Really? I'm trying to get sympathy on that? No.
What do we need sympathy for? I always tell people when they come to my stuff, I don't have a lot of subs. I'm not gaining anything. I'm not writing a book. I'm not making any money. There ain't nothing.
And that's the thing that people don't understand.
Yeah.
Because people are like, Eric, how come I've never heard of David's story? And this is what I'm trying to get to people. David doesn't care about publicity. He doesn't care about getting his story out there. We know him. He said we can run with it. There's certain things that Bob's not allowed to say that he saw within the military.
I can, but I just don't want to.
You can't. But you don't want to get him in trouble.
I don't want to get him in trouble, no. Fuck no. Oh, hell no.
You know, so, and this is what everybody thinks. This is the problem with the world we live in. People think that all stories have to be out on a media to be able to be true. And it's a fact. It's the majority of the people. If it hasn't been talked about on CNN or Fox News, then it's not real. It's like that old saying. If they say a story on the internet, then it must be true. You know? It's sad that a story is only true if it goes through Jeremy Corbell and his group and all that.
Yeah, here's the funny thing. Like, okay, you that Bob Lazar guy, right? Now, if you go through his history, you go back and try to find his school teachers and all that stuff, it seemed to not be there. There's no professors. There's no nothing. The dude has got so many bullshit stories. If you had a private investigator go do my research on me, everything I say is true. They're going to go back and say, holy shit, he was on the Blue Ridge. And it was on a... Holy shit, he did work at the Smithsonian. Holy shit, he did work at the... Hey, holy shit, he did go to school for this. Holy shit, he did... All of it. I could have somebody go through my stuff and say, holy cow, man, you are actually legit. Yeah, 100%. Did I get security clearance? Absolutely. Not once, but twice. Very high.
Understood what I said. She goes, that is BS. Fox and CNN are AI programming.
They are.
They are.
Yeah.
I hope you don't think I was saying that. I'm saying the majority of the people in this world don't believe a story is true if it doesn't come from Fox CNN. Not us.
Yeah. It is AI.
I'm talking about the majority of the people.
Advanced AI.
I keep bringing this up. When Jeremy Corbell finds new people, you got to sign a contract with him that he gets 33%
33.
of whatever you make off of a story.
Yep.
You know, so
Making money.
it's about making money for them. If there now with him, if there is some truth,
Money.
there's a bonus. But he looks for people. And all I can say is how we know that the percentage of what he gets, because he asked a person that we know to be a whistleblower. And this is the sad thing about people like Corbell and them.
Money.
Give a rat's ass if you get in trouble.
Money.
Because he already made your money off of you.
Yeah.
You know, Bob, you know this. If you're in the military, if you retire, you're getting a pension. You're
A
getting
big fat
benefits.
pension.
You don't want to lose all that.
No.
Unless you could get guarantees that your story is going to make you millions and millions and millions above what you're going to get off a pension.
That's the only reason why I do it. Because why? Who gives a shit about other people? I don't care if people believe me or not. I don't care. I'm not making no money off them. But if someone's come up to me and says, hey, man, I'll give you $1 million to tell your story. Okay. Give me $1 million. I'll tell you the story. What do you want to hear? What do you want? I'll give you a story. What kind of you want a tow? I'll get you a tow by noon. What the hell here? Put that in my pocket. Shit. What do you want? I'll give you a story. A lot of these guys are 100% like Tom DeLonge. Like, was it something to the stars? The homie was asking for money, fat fetty of cash. And it's all a money scam. Everything is a money scam. And then light workers, light seeds, new agers.
That's what's sad because
Money.
Tom DeLonge really loved the UFO research and all that.
I like him. I like his music.
Yeah, we like his music, but you get with the wrong group. They want to start this program, and then they make you the head CEO when the only work experience you have is music.
Yeah.
Hey, we love your music, but that doesn't mean you're going to run a business very well.
No. And the majority of them guys are no different than any other person who has what they would call I call it in the kindergarten class, the Mandela effect. They've got a different memory of a different place. Tom DeLonge, obviously, he's been staring at the stars, and he's an RH negative, number one. Number two, he likes the stars. Number three, if I were to be a betting man, and I'm a betting man, I'd put $5 down that man was abducted. Hey, it's got the same criteria as Ron has for being abducted.
If you people in the chat don't know World Bigfoot Radio, Duke, he's a great guy, great channel. He doesn't put up with people's bullshit either. I love him for that. He knows a lot of bullshitters out there, and I like him for that. Because. But I want to ask you something real quick before we end the show and all that.
Yeah.
It's so easy for people to come out and call themselves, I'm a ufologist. It's easy. It's like a title. Like.
Yeah, it's not even a real.
I'm a ufologist, and
it's not even a real freaking.
and they're like, well, but what I mean, what I'm trying to get about is, if you're watching a channel like the person who calls themselves a ufologist. What are some warning signs do you think that you like, you know what? I got to get away from this channel. This guy's full of it. What would you look for?
Well, number one, since 99.9% of everything out there can be made CGI and made to look real, everything's on the table is questionable now. Everything's questionable. And I've had my experience. I know what's right. I know what's real. I've seen a lot of shit. I know what's real and what's not real. I know the fake from the real. So when I see these people with their things, I'm like, you're just a big fake. And congratulations, you just duped some people out of some money. That's all. They're con men. They're just the car salesmen. So a hot ticket item is the paranormal with UFOs. That's a hot ticket item. It's a hot ticket item constantly. Monsters and this and that. Unless you're providing some sort of like Connor's in there. Connor writes books. Connor does research on mythology and writes a book. You could buy his book, and the information is good. So he's not asking you for a donation and all that money. He's just writing good information in a book. Now, I have no beef with people who write books. They go out and do the research. They they look at the hard evidence, and they're skeptics. At the same time, they put out some really good material. You pay for it. You have it. You have a book. That's cool with me. But when they go on there and they start freaking blah 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 blah, and then all of a sudden, they're asking you for this and that, I'm like, join the academy.
This is why I like Duke. Cryptologists are all bullshitters too. No university offers a degree to cryptozoology. At best, they have a degree in zoology.
Zoology, yeah.
Themselves. Exactly my point.
Or they're paleontologists. They're paleontologists also.
Hunter's different, where he's excited to learn what's out there.
The mythologies and all the wonderful, cool stuff.
To learn the mythologies. That's different than coming out and saying, "Look what I caught." He wants to learn. He's listening, and
he provides literature.
He listens to like 100 stories, right? But what he's doing is he's looking for similarities, like certain things. And
overlaps.
We all know that half the stories we get are fake or true, because we all know in the real world, especially on social media, if you want to get to the top, you're gonna lie. You're gonna lie to get yourself to the top.
Well, yeah, that's what everybody does. Everybody does. That's what people do. People just do that. The best way to move up is just make it up.
but what's funny is, Bob, and I don't call channels. I don't do that kind of stuff. But I have seen like a person, and this is true. Like come on my channel before, and we talk about one of the stories of something, like one of those stories, like a Vela having sex with alien or something, and he's like,
I want that.
I had a guy who says, I do believe his story, but then this is how you know when you start getting fakers is when they get with somebody else. Now that story's more fake because this guy's more real. It's where it's like they jump to another person. You know what I mean? And then they're totally like, I don't know what you know what I mean. It's like,
they're riding the coattails. They're riding the coattails.
They're riding the coattails.
Yeah, they're riding the coattails. I mean, that's the best way to do it. It's like, in fact, you and I, Eric, we need to ride coattails too. In fact, what I want to do, I'm going to ask you a proposal for a show. I want to do a show entirely on Bill Murray, and I want us to both invite him to come on. And maybe somebody out there will send it to Bill Murray, and he's like, hey, I like these two brothers. They're freaking weird. I want to come on their show. We need to dedicate an entire show to Bill Murray, asking him to come on. You remember how you and I were going to buy a bar, and we're gonna have one chair that nobody sits in?
It's for Bill Murray only.
Yeah. You can't sit in that chair. Why? That chair is reserved for Bill Murray. There's no Bill Murray here, man. He will come. If we build it, he will come. If you build it, they will come.
This is only for Bill Murray.
We'll do a whole show.
Because one of the legend stories of Bill Murray is he'll just show up. People
He'll just show up.
He will just show up. And he was caught before, went to a college party and started cleaning people's dishes.
Yeah.
You know, the legend of Bill Murray. And yes, Ron, we were always wanting to open a bar and have a seat only for Bill Murray, and we were going to tape it off so nobody could sit there for Bill Murray.
So we got to do a show dedicated to strictly Bill Murray. We could probably bring Ron on. We could probably bring Danny State. We could bring a whole group of us on, and we'll talk about our favorite Bill Murray movies. We'll bring up a whole Bill Murray theme. We'll all wear Hawaiian shirts or something stupid. And maybe, just maybe, he might show up. I think people will be, everyone likes it. They like it.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd, too.
Because World Bigfoot Radio wrote, Bill Murray's awesome, although Dan Aykroyd does UFO research. Yeah. Because it's funny, Duke. I don't know if you watched it, you've seen it on my channel. You know, I've been doing those 4 or 5 minute stories, and I do have one here of Ghostbusters Dan Aykroyd.
Well, Dan fits the description. He's RH negative. He loves the stars. He's obsessed with UFOs and the paranormal. Let's put $5 down. This man was abducted.
The thing is, Dan Aykroyd did grow up in a family that they were
Yeah.
paranormal investigators.
Yeah.
He's always been into it. So what's
family
good
did
about
that
that is he's always been open-minded to the possibility.
Yeah.
Now he has his theories. In that video that I made of him, he has a theory that they're here to do research on women for
Biological
creating their own
purposes.
thing.
Yeah.
You know, and again, we don't know for a fact. These
They
are
just want the
theories,
DNA.
and part of the reason I like to do these stories, so to give people different stories that they're out there, and you know, I do it so you can do your own research on it, and maybe you can find similar to everybody's story. You know,
Yeah.
or it can be the opposite. Well, Bob, you know this. After in the 50s, or I can't remember, the 50s, 40s, when the radio show of the War of the Worlds came out, all of a sudden, UFO spots have went up by
all over
1,000%.
Yeah.
And we all know that maybe out of that 1,000% that it went up, probably only 2 or 3 were actually sighting. They don't know what it is. Everybody's jumping the gun, and that is another problem. When somebody else comes up with something, then all of a sudden everybody's seen it. If somebody came out, Bob, I got a picture of a purple alien, I guarantee the very next day there's going to be a million people that also saw a purple alien.
Yeah.
They jump on the bandwagon. That's a problem too.
There is this theory, and if you guys ever looked into parapsychology, there is an experiment that they try to do, and they do it now. I see it being done in front of our own eyes. When you if you get 1 million people, and you get them to believe in the purple people eater, right? So I want 1 million people to actually believe in the purple people eater, and I want you to freaking concentrate on the purple people eater and see if it manifests itself into reality. So they did these experiments. I'm not saying that's what's going on, but I'm saying it's kind of ironic right after what you said there, War of the Worlds comes out, all of a sudden everybody's seeing UFOs. Almost as if they're, and I hate the word manifesting, but they're somehow creating it. You get enough people. They even did an experiment where they tried to make it rain. It was a part of Texas somewhere. And you had 1 million people. They had 1 million people that participate in concentrating on it to rain. And you know what happened? It rained. Really hard. And I've seen the data for it, and I'm like, that's crazy, man. Now, it could be a coincidence, right? It can be, 100%. However, it was unusual. So you get enough people to believe in anything, and it somehow can come into play. So if the government is pushing an agenda, and they get the majority of people to believe in it,
Placebo.
it can't, placebo. It can sometimes manifest into reality if you get enough people to believe it. That I've seen, and I'm like, this is either a hell of a coincidence, or they really did make it rain. What the hell? You get enough people to believe in something, things happen. It's a perpetual motion, like Taylor Swift. Let's face it, her music is okay. It's not that good. It's okay. But she got enough Swifties to manifest her stuff.
Is topa. So manifest your belief is a topa.
Yeah. When people feed into they feed into it with their emotions and their whole heart and their whole belief systems, it can sometimes apparently manifest itself.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, be careful. Be careful what you believe in. Be careful, because you might be making it happen if you get enough people to believe in one thing. Again, be careful. We might have a purple people eater running around pretty soon if everyone believes in it.
Everybody in the chat, let's all think about the purple eater tonight. And everybody in the chat, tell everybody to start thinking about the purple eater, and then we'll see if there's stories coming out about these purple beings that are being spotted.
Purple people eaters are spotted everywhere.
And you can say it was exclusive on the Paranormal Highway.
Let me show that picture of Dad. Let me show the picture of Dad with the light. This strange picture of Dad. There's Dad, and this picture makes no sense. And he was abducted before, and I get abducted. So I think that was unusual. Maybe it's just for me to look at. But I think that was weird. Yeah, so be careful, guys. We don't want no purple people eaters running around.
Yeah. And, one day, maybe somehow, we can convince David to come on. But, I mean, he doesn't really give a shit about this stuff. But there is another person that we're going to try to get on. And
Bill Murray?
When he gets free time, Bear Grease.
Bear Grease, yeah. I had him on last night on my show. Holy shit, I want to try to get Bear Grease on my channel. I'm hungover from that, so we got.
And guys, everybody's like, "Who's Bear Grease?" Bear Grease is a family member who doesn't want his name out.
Oh.
He's been with us from day one hunting, and he has had several experiences himself.
Yeah, lots of them.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it on my show. You know that. So.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Are you doing another show tonight?
Oh God, no! I got to take a break, man. I was with Bear Grease last night, and I'm still hungover. That man is wild. So I got to rest today. I have to rest today. I hope I rest today. The problem is, people have been okay. So I do a show when somebody else pays for it. That's my rule. And so far, no one's paid for it, so I might have myself a little break today. But the last two shows were sponsored by people from my side.
Laugh out loud. Wu said his name last night.
Oh, did I say his name last night? Shit. Don't repeat it then.
Yeah. Actually, technically, I'll give a clue. I shout out a certain name during this show today that could be related to that person too. But Danny is on to something. It was he. Yeah, we don't give out that. Bear Grease is just another guy in the family member that does not give a shit about popularity, trying to sell stories.
No.
He'll tell us because we're family.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't care.
And then tomorrow I'll be coming out with another one of those video types that I've been putting out, and hopefully people are enjoying them. These videos where I'm just finding stories from newspapers from the UK, some stories that people know, some stories that people don't. I actually got a lot of people saying, hey, they didn't know that Goldie Hawn actually had a story.
Yeah, well, the majority of Hollywood, this is not a conspiracy, this is a fact. The majority of Hollywood are heavy with Rh negative blood types, and since the Rh negative blood types are the ones being targeted by these interdimensionals, I can definitely believe that they all pretty much have stories. Yeah. No different than mine, no different than Dan Aykroyd's. Ron's probably been abducted a lot himself. He don't remember anything. Lucky for him. Yeah.
What I'm trying to do is, if you guys today's show was based on that story. So if you guys have not seen it, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. This story is only on this channel only, hasn't been put around. So if you haven't seen it, you can watch it yourself. Only 5 minutes. It's a fast story, and beyond that, man, I hope everybody has had fun today. Most of my shows will be back at 9 a.m. But I don't know. I kind of like noon. Sometimes I debate like, do I want to go back to 9 a.m. or do I want to move to 12 o'clock noon?
Huh.
See, I always like mornings because then I have the afternoon to finish up projects for the next day. It always seemed like when you do shows during the day, you never get enough done in the morning, and then after the show's over, since it's later in the day, you never have enough the rest of the day to do anything.
Yeah, somebody wrote in there. They never tried to abduct Claude Van Damme. Who cares? If they were to abduct, what's his name, man? Oh God.
I like noon. I'm actually awake.
If they abducted Chuck Norris, it'd be a serious problem. I don't think there'd be any more abductions after that if they abducted, Chuck Norris.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, if you ever watch his interview in real life, the guy's a wacko.
Well, he used to be originally he was a fucking ballet guy.
Yeah.
He's a ballet guy. Actually, in college I took ballet for 1 quarter. Yeah.
Well, a lot of football players take ballet because it helps them with the balance and it helps them running and it's great exercise.
Yeah, and I like women, so I love picking them up in the air.
So,
it's a class you can cop a feel and you can get grades for it. Copping a feel.
That, people, I really appreciate you guys being here today. It was fun, and if you guys ever have questions about this story and stuff, you can always email or bring it up on Friday.
Yeah.
And then, we could talk more about it if you guys have any additional questions or anything you guys want to know. We can continue this on Friday. So beyond that, everybody, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And there is a lot of good, honest channels out there. World Bigfoot Radio's in there. Danny Stanton's in there. Cosmic Neighbors is in there. Oh, the Dogman UK's in there. A lot of good channels out there. You just be careful with the bad ones. If you want to know the bad ones, email me on the site. I might give you hints. But beyond that, we'll see you all next time on the Paranormal Highway.
Brace for a cosmic journey beyond the movie's chills. Travis Walton's real-life alien abduction is more unsettling than Hollywood's take. Dive into reality. Picture Arizona's dense forests, loggers witnessing a UFO, and Walton mysteriously beamed aboard. 5 days vanish, polygraph tests raise eyebrows, and 7 witnesses make this more than your average campfire tale. Beyond the screen, recent UFO intel disclosures and the NASA connection add weight to the mystery. Are we truly alone? Or could extra-dimensional entities be at play? Brace yourself for a mind-bending journey beyond the extraterrestrial. Meet the enigmatic Greys. Travis's description matches the infamous Zeta Reticulans. The Greys, cold, emotionless, and possibly the puppeteers orchestrating our cosmic drama.